Steve. The last question is kind of the heart of our project. Basically, as we've worked our way through this, we've come to the conclusion that that the current attitude in America and in the American church towards consumerism and materialism is going to result in the unsustainability of the current kind of excitement over, or renewed excitement over social justice work. And we believe at the core of that, the core reason is because the church, or people in the church, are not willing to live in a sacrificial manner towards what God has given them. Just given your answers to the last three questions, we're just curious. Also given your theological training and what you've seen overseas. Do you agree or disagree with this thesis, and just maybe explain why your answer is what it is?
Okay. If you're talking about American consumerism, I think at the very least you have aspects of gluttony, because how much is ever enough? Well, nothing for us. Avarice, what can I get? What can I get? And sloth. We'll talk about that in a second. If you're dealing with something that hits 3 of the 7 deadly sins, that's not bad. Well, you understand what I mean by bad there. It's not good at all. Now, one of the interesting questions of it is, if you're going to criticize American materialism and consumerism, which I think you're right, that social justice, either you're going to choose social justice and, even more significantly, compassion, or materialism and consumerism, that in the long term these aren't compatible. But what do you replace this with? Well, because it seems to me that basic candidates for replacing it are, say, some kind of primitivism, Tyler Durden kind of thing, where I have a dream of basic rural anarchy resulting in, that's how you do away with planned obsolescence and all of the other ways that our society has consciously chosen to be the world's most consumeristic society, and consumerism for the sake of it. Or you have Salvation by Karl Marx, who does a good job of seeing forms of injustice and analyzing certain social structures, but really doesn't have a basis for solving this problem that is in the reality of God, which means the reality of the world. So what you can see in the Marxist societies is it led to a collapse in their societies, and and a real failure to be able to be productive, which is what he was aiming for most of all. Or you have a kind of compartmentalization of your life, where, okay, see, the way that we preach tithing often builds into this. 10% of the money is God's, 90% of the money is mine. I give God his part. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's. That's the way it works, right? No, wait. I was supposed to give to God what is God's, which is everything. So I think if you're talking about a replacing of a compartmentalization, or a replacing of consumerism, it's not going to really work on either of those three terms. Either on a world that is Salvation by Marx, or primitive anarchism, or just because you're so disgusted with society you think the only thing to do with it is throw it away. Or through compartmentalizing your life, saying, okay, I'm supposed to be compassionate, all right, I'll give this little part, I'll give this part. God gave us all of creation to be stewards of, to exercise his purposeful creativity. And Christ didn't just let his left hand be crucified. He gave everything that he was. Taking up your cross as, in hopes of in trusting in the resurrection, as the form of purposeful creativity through which we steward this world. That's a whole life thing. It's something that has to be committed to from your foundations. It also has to be committed to wisely. I think that there's a need for better economic bases. Because really the bases that you have are the kind of social Darwinism or Marxism that I talked about before. And there's a few aspects of good and a lot of aspects of wrong in both of those. Again, we're not just talking about a need for much better. We're not just talking about a need for individual conversion, but for conversion to become active at a social level for us as societies. And that's going to take some development, some intellectual and theoretical development to figure out what good directions really are in terms of economics, in terms of politics, that aren't just constrained by the logic that's given to us by our dominant political parties, who we support for maybe many good reasons, but who in many respects are firmly grounded in the logic of this world.